So hello guys and welcome back to Equi Edge Research where we share cutting edge insights with you on the automotive area, overall economy and decode stock market psychologies. So guys, today in the next chapter that we are going to discuss on in the automotive series, the chapter is the risk and challenges faced by the automotive areas. So now we are going to talk on the demand sides, and if the video doesn't go too long, we are going to also talk about the supply sides, but we can talk about supply sides in the next video. So now we are going to talk about the factors that really affect on the demand sides on the automotive areas. So let me drive you through the story. There are a lot of factors that affect the automotive areas, and these factors are variables, and these variables are constant in nature. There are 4 to 5 to 6 essential factors that really affect the automotive industries, and these factors are really knowable. So when I talk to you about these factors and you researching on it will give you a grip on how the current conditions and current things are working, and based on that what could be the possible outcomes on the stock prices or the profits of the companies in the automotive area. So the first and foremost risk or the challenge is slowdown in economic activities impacting buying decisions. So when I talk about India's growth in terms of GDP in fiscal year 2025, it was around 6.8 percentage. When I talk to you about the growth of GDP from a tenure of 2024 to 2029, it has been projected at somewhere between 6 to 9%, 6 to 8 percentage. So any moderations in these percentage of GDP are going to largely impact the income of people. Let us suppose we have a person, his name is Veer. He is very alive and he understands what are the things that are going into economy. He knows that economy is going through a slowdown. So when there is a slowdown, the disposable income of people reduces. So what happens is, what Veer does is, the first thing that he do is cutting the cost on spending on discretionary items, on spending on wants and focusing on needs. Now you focus on needs, and जितना भी पैसा आपके पास बच रहा है आप सेव कर रहे हो, and you are investing it in order to survive and thrive in threshold situations, right? So this is going to ultimately impact the buying behavior for cars in the mind of Indian consumer. As we talk, automotive or cars comes into the discretionary spending, and the sales of cars are directly proportional to increasing or decreasing the disposable incomes of people, and thereby increasing or decreasing in the discretionary spending, right? The second and most important thing is above or below normal monsoons. So in the previous videos I have broadly covered about how the monsoons really affect the automotive area as well as overall economy. I want you to go really deeper into the concepts, and I want you to know about two very important topics that was really new for me when I was reading. They are El Nino or La Nina. So these both are the concepts or the parts of the phenomena that originate in the Pacific Ocean, right? So think about it as a seesaw where you have the center and you have two different places. You have, first is El Nino and second is La Nina, warmer and colder. So what happens is, from the south, मतलब right side से, पेरू के साइड से, इट्स नॉट साउथ, फ्रॉम साइड ऑफ पेरू गर्म हवाएं आती हैं, राइट? वो गर्म हवाएं कब आती हैं? मई जून के टाइम पे आती हैं ऑन इंडिया, राइट? एट द सेम टाइम सूरज जो होता है, इट कम्स नियर इक्वेटर ऑन द टॉप ऑफ इंडिया, देयर इज मोर हीट. नाउ इट डिपेंड्स फ्रॉम द साइड्स ऑफ पेरू कि वहाँ से एल नीनो आता है या ला नीना आता है, हवा गर्म आती है या हवा ठंडी आती है. Because when the sun is on the top of India, what happens is the air in India gets heat up and it moves in multi directions and it gets scattered. अब इसकी पूर्ति करने के लिए जो पीछे जो हवा है ना, पीछे अगर हवा है ठंडी, जो इंडियन ओशन पे ठंडी हवा है, वो इसकी भरपाई करने इंडिया के ऊपर आएगी. इफ देयर इज एल नीनो, जो कि गर्म हवा का झोंका है, वो पीछे से आएगा तो वो धक्का देगा और फिर बारिश होगी भारत, राइट। बट समटाइम्स ऐसा नहीं होता। समटाइम्स ऐसा है कि अगर हवा बहुत ज़्यादा है, पीछे पीछे का जो एरिया है वहाँ से अगर एल नीनो आ रहा है और ये जो इंडियन ओशन के ऊपर की हवा भी गर्म कर रहा है, एंड पहले तो सूरज की वजह से इंडिया के ऊपर की हवा गर्म थी, तो दिस कॉज अ ड्रॉट लाइक सिचुएशन इन इंडिया। एट द सेम टाइम अगर यहाँ से ला नीना आ रहा है जो कि ठंडी हवा का झोंका है, और पहले से इंडियन ओशन के ऊपर जो है वो गर्म था और यहाँ पे इंडिया के ऊपर भी गर्म था, एंड दीज मूव फ्रंट और ये ठंडी हवा का झोंका आता है। अब क्या हुआ कि जो इंडियन ओशन के ऊपर जो थोड़ी सी ठंडी हवा थी वो, एंड ये जो पीछे से ठंडी हवा आई वो, दे टुगेदर गेट मिक्स्ड एंड इट कॉजेस हेवी रेनफॉल एंड फ्लड लाइक सिचुएशंस। सो इन एनी सिचुएशन मे बी एल नीनो और ला नीना of having drought like situations or having flood like situations respectively may largely impact the automotive areas. And if we talk about how it impacts, stronger the rainfall, stronger the flood like situation, low incomes in the rural agricultural incomes. Let us talk about a company which is known as Maruti Suzuki India Limited, who is a market leader for small compact hatchbacks and small compact and affordable cars, right? Which is the target audience for them? The people or the population in the rural areas who are heavily dependent on the sources of income from agriculture or some income related to agriculture or rainfall. And when rainfalls are affected, the rural incomes from or the rural productivities of income from farming and other stuff gets reduced. और जो पहला कंजम्पशन का वेव आता है ना इकोनॉमी में, that comes from the rural part, because the most of the liquidity comes in the market from rural parts, because the general start of earning money through agriculture general comes from rural areas. So when that depletes, spending in automotives for tractors, two-wheelers or small compact affordable cars, they get heavily impacted. Also the inflation rises जब फ्लड लाइक सिचुएशन होता है या फिर ड्रॉट लाइक सिचुएशन होता है, उपज कम होती है, yield is less supply, more demand will increase inflation. जैसे जैसे खाना महंगा होता है, rest of the things become more expensive. That is very important. And if we talk about the real impacts, so there is a weak demand for two-wheelers, drought in India or countries like India, Australia, heavy rainfall in South America, and warmer winters in North America. So there is a contrast every time. जैसे मैंने बोला ना कि लेफ्ट और राइट वार्मर, एक जगह वार्मर है तो एक जगह ठंडा भी है. All works in a cycle. The next thing that we are going to work on is the impact on changing interest rate scenarios. If you look at the inflation that has been happening in India is currently low as compared to a lot of countries, but for Indian domestic market it's currently high. And more the inflation rises, it results in the central government of increasing the interest rates. वो जो सेंट्रल बैंक है उसका एक ही काम है कि वो इंटरेस्ट रेट्स को इंक्रीज करे ताकि जो नॉर्मल लोग हैं, जो इंडिया 3 है, वो ज़्यादा इम्पैक्ट ना हो, उसके लिए ज़्यादा चीज़ें महंगी ना हो जाए. सो व्हाट हैपेंस, द रेपो रेट इंक्रीजेस. अब बैंक को सस्ते में लोन नहीं देगा, महंगे में लोन देगा, तो जो बैंक है वो भी कार फाइनेंसिंग के लिए जो लोन देगा उसका वैल्यू बढ़ जाएगा. एंड दिस विल directly impact the buying behavior of consumer to finance a car. Either वो कार खरीदेंगे नहीं, because most of the people are really dependent upon the financing cars. बजाज से करा लिया या बैंक से लोन करवा ली, EMI करवा ली, etc. That is going to really impact, and hence this impact will be seen into sales. People will start being more away from buying vehicles in these particular situations. The next is increase in vehicle cost of ownership. See, Vehicle cost of ownership is determined by two things. The first one is cost of acquisition and cost of operations. What is cost of acquisition? कि for suppose ये particular ring है ना, ये मेरे को 100 रुपए में पड़ी, so this is cost of acquisition, right? और थोड़े दिनों बाद ये हर बार ये चांदी की रिंग है तो हर बार कुछ इसकी शाइनिंग चली जाती है, तो इसके ऊपर हमें घिसाई करनी पड़ती है टू कीप इट अलाइव, सो दैट इज कॉस्ट ऑफ ऑपरेशंस. वैसे ही इफ वी आर बाइंग, फॉर सपोज वी आर बाइंग स्विफ्ट, it's a low end model, starts from 6.7 or 6.9 to 9 lakh rupees. That is cost of acquisition. और फिर उसको चलाना भी तो है, क्या लगेगा? पेट्रोल. That is cost of operations, right? And both have significant impact on demand. The cost of vehicle acquisition rises when OEM transfer the impact of several increased manufacturing costs to the customer. If we talk about passenger vehicles, there are 2 or 3 things. First, as inputs, first and most important thing is steel sheets. Second are molds. The third are non-ferrous catalyst or castings, and the fourth are paints. If there are rise or fall or changes in these rates of these particular materials, there is going to be change in the cost of the vehicle or cost of acquisition of vehicle. That is going to, देखो यार, अगर एक कंपनी है वो कोई पर्टिकुलर चीज़ बना रही है और रॉ मटेरियल महंगा हो गया है उसकी लिमिट से, तो in order to save margins for that company, it will pass it over to people. But what is happening? The GDP growth is subdued. Most of the people aren't able to afford the entry level cars, and at the same time the costs are being referred to or being moved to the customers. So that is also going to directly impact the buying behavior of the consumer. And the second one is the most important. The cost of operations for a customer are directly impacted by the fluctuations in crude oil prices and INR USD exchange rates. अभी तो फिलहाल ऐसा है कि इंडिया रशिया से भी ऑयल खरीद रहा है, तो शायद थोड़ा सा fluctuations and things and the rate for the crude oil may be cheaper, better. There are something factors skeptical to that, but these overall factors also really affect the market. If the crude oil prices rises, the back chain of creating petrol, diesel and other fuels that are necessary for powertrains or the vehicles will get more expensive, and the cost of operations will increase. And sometimes I have seen, I have one of my brothers, and he was buying a car, and he took an electric vehicle, and the strong reason that he gave me was कि I don't have to think each and every time that I have to fill up petrol. I can just move through electricity of me having solar panels on my top of house. So cost of operations in the Indian markets and mind of Indian consumers are always going to be there. The next one is price accelerations on account of regulatory push. There are a lot of norms, BS6 norms and lot of different norms based on which are being implemented and being told by the government to the companies, जो companies को मानने पड़ते हैं, and based on that they have to make changes in the cars and the automotive vehicles. And this increases, जैसे कि अब मारुति सुजुकी ने 6 एयरबैग्स बढ़ा दिए, तो अब ये 6 एयरबैग्स जब बढ़ाए, सेफ्टी को इंक्रीज करना था, तो इसका कॉस्ट इट came to customers. That there is not lot of things, but these norms, see, automotive industry is strongly regulated by the government. We need to understand this because the maximum contribution of is been coming from the automotive area to the GDP, right? And the last one is the cyclicity of domestic passenger vehicle business. How the overall business cycle is working. Is the business cycle moving good? Is the business cycle moving bad? Is there liquidity in the market? Is the liquidity in market needs to be injected by the RBI? See, liquidity in markets can be determined by one or two things. You also have, recently I was reading and I was going through one very important thing. increase in wages of the government officers. There is a commission जो हर 10 साल के अंदर जो गवर्नमेंट है वो बिठाता है, और बेस्ड ऑन दैट they revise the wages of government employees based on looking at various factors, comparing the wages and inflation. So ये पहले हुआ था 1947 या 48 या 49 में, अगला हुआ था कुछ 2006 में, उसके आगे हुआ था 2016 में, and maybe it could come in 26. So if the wages increase on a good scale, then this is also a strong factor that could create liquidity, that can work as a liquidity injection in the market for government employees, which will indirectly increase or directly increase their disposable income, and their spending in discretionaries will be high in maybe automotives, or there could be, now there are a lot of parts ki jahan pe wallet ko divide kiya ja sakta hai in terms of discretionary spending. So this was all together for today, and we'll meet you in the next video.